Marketing's role in creating an inclusive future. This is a really important topic for me that I have spent the past 3 years really honing in on. But first I want to tell you just a teeny bit more about why. So Danielle just gave you an introduction of me, but really at the heart of it, I am simply obsessed with helping marketers understand the power and influence they hold when it comes to diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. For over 20 years, I've been doing this work more silently, one client at a time. But for the past 3 years, I've been talking about it a lot more openly and out loud, trying to get more marketers to understand their power and influence and come along with me. And part of why I wanted to do this is it really started with all the controversy around George Floyd in 2020, where the national dialogue shifted and made it more comfortable and more necessary and critical for marketers to take a forefront of the stage. And so now that I've become super obsessed with it, I'm launching this initiative called Colossal Work. And you'll see a little bit about it. You're going to hear more about it in October. So follow me to hear more about what we're doing. But a lot of this work started as part of my volunteer work at the American Marketing Association, which is a great place to kind of field your passions and figure out what's important in the field of marketing. And what was really exciting yesterday was to hear Benny Johnson talk about the collaboration with AMA and Content Marketing Institute. So before we begin, I want to just set the tone a little bit. As you might understand, I am not going to really talk about how to execute content in an inclusive way. Instead, what I'm going to do is talk about the people behind the creation of it, because that's where it starts, right? So as you're thinking about the content that you generate, you are hopefully thinking about your mission, vision, and values. But I also would like you to think about my core beliefs and hopefully adopt them as your own. So belonging is your North Star, right? We hear about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. I believe DEI is the path to true belonging. We'll talk a little bit more about what that really means. Equity helps you reach it. So equity is the systems, the processes, the policies that you enact in your organization that help you achieve belonging. And more specifically, those systems and processes can filter down into your marketing teams. And then lastly, change helps you sustain it, right? So that's the action. That's how you're activating all of the systems, policies, and procedures, right? And that's how you're trying to achieve true belonging when it comes to the people that are creating all this. I mean, at the end of the day, that's your purpose, and everything starts with not only your workforce, but also your internal talent and your external talent. So I like to just level set on what DEIB means, because people have different definitions of it, but we can all look up the textbook definitions, but I really wanted to showcase what this means through the lens of DEI and the people, right? So diversity means I can see that my company consists of talent from various backgrounds, right? So whether you see it visually, whether it's published in a DEI report or annual report, whether it's through events or promotions or things like that through your organization, it's something that you can see. Seeing is believing in the capacity of what you think seeing means. Equity, as I talked about, is the systems, right? But that really means my company is actively providing the tools and access I need specific to my needs. Now, I ripped this picture from LinkedIn. I don't remember where I ripped it from, but it's an actual picture of a woman giving a presentation on a big stage, like keynote stage, with her baby in her baby bougeon. And for whatever reason, she didn't have a babysitter that day, right? I'm sure that wasn't her first choice. But, it sends a powerful message, particularly for women, that you can have a family and also do your job just as well as anyone else. Like, it kind of rips away some of the old stereotypes, and if companies support that, then you get so much more out of your parenting workforce. Inclusion means that my contributions and beliefs are welcome, valued, and supported at work, right? So you know the term you can bring your whole selves to work. I really don't like that term anymore because I don't know if you really want to bring your whole self, but that's a personal choice. But at least you feel like you can, right? It is welcomed, it is encouraged, and there are systems to support it. And then belonging is when we switch to the I feel, right? So I feel safe, which is really important, and appreciated for who I am and what I bring to the table, almost like family. And I say almost because we do there's a lot of transition, voluntary or otherwise, when we're at work. But it's a flip between what the company is doing and what you can see the company doing and how that makes you feel. And when someone feels like they belong, that's a whole new ballgame. So I focus on equity first, and I'll tell you why, right? So people pretty much understand diversity, they pretty much understand, inclusion, but the path to getting there is what's hard, and equity is the really hard part, and so a lot of times people don't focus on it. You'll see like D&I, they just leave out the equity, but that's critical, right? So this is a graphic from the Equity Imperative by Deloitte, and it talks about equity's influence across this entire chain, right? So you see it in the workforce, you see it in the marketplace where marketing plays as well, and you see it in society. Marketing has a little bubble there, but I contend that marketing actually filters throughout all of these different areas in very unique and specific ways. And if you think about the marketing department in your organizations, they often interact with some of these other departments, maybe even all, or they could. Right? So it's just about, again, asserting marketing's power and influence in general, and then applying that with a DEI lens. So again, I've been saying this, but I wanted to put it in front of you. Marketing has the power and influence to make a difference. And one really quick example is, as I mentioned in the beginning, when I really started doing this work, I was president of the American Marketing Association, the New York chapter at the time, and we really wanted to push this notion forward. It was brand new, no one was really talking about DEI in marketing, and a small group of us had this conversation, and we put together a pledge because we wanted marketers to make a commitment. AMA has around 70 chapters within the United States, and we put this pledge together, we pushed it out, and this was a groundswell, right? It wasn't on a national level, it was just some chapters working together, and around 68% of the chapters signed it in the first year, and that has remained pretty much consistent over the past couple of years. And there were various reasons why others didn't, because maybe they were too small or something like that, but it wasn't for lack of wanting to. There are 6 commitments, and they're pretty hefty, but we trained people on how they could execute against even just one commitment and work towards something bigger. And about a year later, more than half of the chapters added a DEI chair to their boards. So you already see this momentum. And since I started, I now chair the DEI committee on the National Council. I have 95 volunteers that are really interested in advancing DEI in the marketing field. So that's just a start. So imagine if each one of you went back today and asserted this power.